We're going to kick it off now, yeah? Ready to kick it off?
I don't know what the agenda is, but I'm following you.
You got to go off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
Yeah.
There is no agenda.
Exactly. We're having a chat. To kick it off. I'm Steve, and I'm joined by Athar, Ash, and Ron. And we are in the Basque Country, out here for the Europa League final. Looking forward to it. Ron, you excited?
Honestly, ever since I knew I was coming, I've been counting down day by day.
When did you find out?
Found out on the last pod, thanks to Steve over here, announcing the news to me. And as I say, since then, it's just been every day, ticking it off one by one. And here we are.
Love it.
Amazing.
Athar,
Stuff for dreams.
And I've got to give Athar credit for booking this place. We looked at the hotel prices in Bilbao. I pre-booked a hotel, as I mentioned on the pod. £3,000 it was for 2 nights, for 2 rooms. And then we thought, can we really pay that? And Athar, you went searching and you found this place.
I know. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid, but I'm charging you £3,000.
You'll be in profit, right?
It's like the data centre that Ineos want for scouting.
Ash, 3rd European final you've been to?
Yeah, 3rd final. Hat trick. But first with Steve.
Yeah, true. This is my first European final.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm buzzing. Oh, I'm buzzing, boys, honestly. We just need to win. Obviously, we've talked about how pivotal it is. I think Ash, Azar, and me, we covered a bit of our predictions and the lineups already in the previous pod. So, Ron, I'm interested to hear what's your lineup, what you're going with for the United team.
If you walk into any game, there are certain starters. So we have those.
Got Harry Maguire on. You're going to say it
straight away.
Great characters in the team.
Harry Maguire's my second man on my team sheet.
Bruno.
Who would have said that a few months ago?
Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Players like Onana, Bruno. Let's start from the back. So obviously goalkeeper Onana, centre back Harry Maguire, left-sided centre back Luke Shaw, right-sided centre back. See, this is where I think it's debatable. It just depends on who's fit. I'm hearing Dallo could well be back. Obviously, we've got Mazraoui. De Ligt is out. So I would probably go with Mazraoui, considering De Ligt's not around.
That's what you
I
said.
wouldn't go with Victor Lindelof.
You told me Lenny Yoro's back in training. Is that
yeah,
true,
I'm just not sure. He is.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure if he can start the game, considering he's only just been back over the last couple of days. Luke Shaw left-sided centre-back, Harry Maguire, and then I'd start Mazraoui, right centre-back. The wing-backs, Dorgu, left wing-back, Ahmad, right wing-back. Nice. And the reason I choose Ahmad as right wing-back, and obviously we can discuss it when we start talking about the number 10 positions, is I'm trying to get as many attacking players on the pitch as possible. We've seen over this season, we lack creativity, right? And in a big game final, we've got to create opportunities, and Ahmad provides us with that.
You're a bit worried about Ahmad and Mazraoui against Sonny.
Yeah, but I think it's a risk worth taking. What have we seen of Sonny? I mean, this season has been in and out. He's been more out than in. I don't know if he's quite the same player. I hope I don't regret that. But I'm not sure he's quite the same player. So we'll go with that. I think Ahmad,
love it.
A wing back. And then into midfield, Casemiro. Reborn Casemiro.
The man.
The man. I think I was saying to you guys earlier, off camera, I think if he plays well, I think we have a real good chance of winning the game. He needs a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 performance.
You're the stats man. What's Casemiro's final record?
7 finals, 7 wins.
Wow.
So let's hope it's 8 out of 8. Like Casemiro.
He's got a Carabao Cup as well, hasn't he?
With us, yeah.
Got to include that. That's a winner.
FA Cup. He didn't start, did he? But he's got a medal.
He's got that around his neck, yeah. And then Ugarte in midfield alongside him. Again, I think Ugarte, question marks. Do you go Mainu? Do you drop Bruno back? Lots of options there for Ruben to consider. I would go Ugarte. A couple of reasons for that. I think Mainu, his performances of late, I think his form is dipped. Again, in and out of team driven. Bruno, Bruno's Bruno. He can play right wing back. But I think Bruno just gives you more an attacking sense, playing in the number 10. Again, to my point about lacking creation, Bruno will give you that, right? Playing alongside. We'll come to that in a second, whether I go with Garnacho or I go with Mount. But Bruno in the 10 for creativity. So therefore, you play Ugarte. I think Spurs' midfield is going to be quite energetic. So someone like Ugarte trying to get around the pitch a little bit. Worried a little bit about his possession-based game. I go
got a question for you, because you talked about Cobby playing next to Casemiro.
Yeah.
So what's the thinking?
I was just thinking, if you want to dominate the game in possession, I think Cobby is really good under pressure. And I feel the Spurs midfield is quite physical. So it's a question of, do you go physical for physical, or do you try and dominate the game with possession? My inclination, my instinct is always, let's try and keep the ball away from them and press high, dominate the game with possession. But I can understand that, Ugarte's got the legs. So yeah. And the other thing is, I think maybe I'm a bit biased. I like Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah,
I just like him as a
But
player.
mainly when he's playing well.
yeah,
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw
Yeah.
Mainoo in a United shirt? Obviously, we had the European quarterfinal
Yeah, the
with
goal.
Leon. Bit of magic.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Tell you the game I'm thinking, if he could absolutely boss midfield, is England versus Holland semi-final.
Yeah,
He's a machine, that game.
In the summer is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
for me, he's got it in there. So I'm actually tempted, because Run said as well, you like to put in as many attacking players as possible, and then you said, I'm gonna make a choice with Garner, right, with Mount. I'm tempted with Bruno in midfield as well, and doing Garner and Mount. So
I think
I don't think Ruben will do it. I'm not saying Ruben will do it, but I know you're saying we lack the creativity, but I do feel that Bruno has that ability to get up and down, right? Do both positions. What you lack is that defensive mindedness, right? But again, it's like, how much do you attack?
in such a crucial game, you want to get your best player as close to the goal as possible, and that's what Bruno gives you in that 10 position. So it's debatable.
You can always drop Bruno back later in the game, though, and he done that against Leon, right?
Yeah.
And we got the goal,
100%.
so we've got to keep things.
I
in
like
the
the
back
fact
pocket.
that we have options, and I like the fact that based on, we had this discussion last night, but since then we've had people cut rumors, or actually the official Man United account saying Xerxes, Oro, and Dallo are in training, and it feels like, we've suddenly got some options to think about. It's good to know that they're there, which means that when you think of what's available on the bench, I'm feeling a bit more confident now.
We've got options then, right? So Ron, finish off your.
So Ugarte, Casemiro, and then we go into the number 10 positions. Then Bruno, and this is where it's a hot debate.
Yeah.
The options are, you've got Garnacho, you've got Mason Mount, or you've got Kobbie Mainoo. And I would go for, this is very debatable, but
I'll give you one more possibility. Are you not going to play Rasmus Højlund up front? Because you could play both of them.
Yeah.
You could take Mainoo as a false nine. Yeah. You could put Garnacho up there. You can have Mount. You can take two of those three and not have Højlund. What are you going to do?
I would play Højlund, and I'll come to that in a second. I'd go with Garnacho. And the reason I go with Garnacho is Spurs will play a high line. So with that high line, what we need is runners in behind, pace in behind.
Penetration.
And he's going to give you that in abundance. In fact, he's probably our only player that you'd say in that starting 11 that can probably run in behind. Yeah, Garnacho. Mason Mount, obviously, he's been phenomenal since he's been back from injury. I thought the performance against Brentford, I watched that game, it was very good. He got his goal. And then obviously, the cameo that he got in the European game, those 2 goals at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Against an athletic club. Sensational. So he's a close starter for me, but I'd go with Garnacho just for the legs in behind. And then up front, we're going with Højlund. And the reason we're going for Højlund is I think we need someone to occupy Spurs' 2 centre-backs. Yeah. Spurs have a real strength, I think, with Romero and Van der Ven playing. Their partnership together is going to be instrumental for them.
Yeah.
And we need someone to occupy that. Again, I look at options. Xerxes is an option, but again, how fit is he to start? Yeah. Kobbie Mainoo, you mentioned the false 9. Yes, but I haven't seen Kobbie play in a false 9 frequently enough.
Yeah.
And when he has played, he's been ineffective. So it's too much of a risk in a big game like that to play Kobbie in the 9. So I'd go with what we know. Obviously, Højlund's performance is, big question mark as to whether he can deliver.
It's a good question.
You're still going to do it?
I would.
Still going to do it. It's a good question. Do you occupy those centre-backs, or do you say that Højlund isn't capable of occupying them and you just say leave them alone and try and play round the sides of them?
Well, he likes a wrestling match, but he's likely to lose that one, isn't he?
And that's where the false 9 comes in. You'd have Kobbie can drop in, and then you'd say, like, Garner, go around the wing.
Yeah, or you get Højlund to occupy them for the first 70 minutes, tire out the defenders, and then you switch to that approach when the legs are tired.
The good thing is, if you did a false 9, whether it's Kobbie or anyone, Mason Mount, right? That's another option. They will obviously drop into midfield. Naturally, Van der Ven and Romero actually like going chasing the player.
Yeah, they'll come, and then you have Garnacho
Yeah.
sneak in behind.
Or an
back-
The
Ahmad
thing
as
is,
well.
for me, like you've seen Spain play this way, and even Man City as well in the false nine.
Yeah.
But you've seen proven strikers being able to operate at that level to actually play that position. I can't think of anyone in our squad that actually plays. Even Bruno effectively plays the false nine well enough. And in our biggest game, not just, and we'll talk about that, not just this season, but in years gone by, this is the biggest.
Yeah. Huge risk. Huge risk.
It's a huge risk to actually take.
But does it matter if Højlund's not holding the ball and losing all the physical? So isn't the ball bypassing him anyway?
Yeah, but I look at Tottenham's strengths, and their two centre backs are their strengths, right? That partnership, as I mentioned. So we need somebody to occupy both of them, and I think Højlund, to a certain degree, can do that. You know, he's a big physical specimen.
Cool.
Like
So you're going to go with the tiring out
Yeah,
method?
I'd go with that. Yeah,
Cool.
and then obviously, we've got good options off the bench.
Yeah,
we've got
that's
Kobe
key.
Mainoo, we've got Mason Mount. I wouldn't bring Mainoo in one of those 10 positions. I'd play him potentially to replace Ugarte, and then we've got the Mason Mount option, as I say,
See now as well.
Josh as well.
the bench,
Which
maybe.
guns?
I
Are they
can't
ready?
wait for it.
We'll see that celebration hopefully.
Interesting if he even makes it onto the bench. You never know. Like,
I would absolutely love it. It'd be
All right.
fantastic. The
big
fact-
boost.
So interesting. I mean, I know your teams have been announced yesterday. How many of those are the same? So we're all agreeing with the goalkeeper, obviously.
I
No.
can't even remember my team.
yeah. I think they're
Harry
pretty-
Maguire
Might have changed now.
Starting
I think,
Maguire.
I think that the
I think we're generally.
Are we all starting
fairly
Luke Shaw? I don't think Ash, you're not starting Luke Shaw.
No, I'm going to go Euro
You're right.
left centre back
Okay.
and bring Luke Shaw on.
I'm 50-50 on that one. I think I said Luke Shaw.
I think you said to start, yeah.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, because you were saying you'd rather start him than bring him on. I think
Yeah.
they're very similar. It's more like that. It's the number 10s is probably the crucial.
I keep changing my mind, so I don't
Yeah.
even know what I picked yesterday.
I mean, right wing back as well. Like I think all of us would actually play Ahmad there, wouldn't we? But
More interestingly, forget all these things. How do you think we should play against Spurs?
yeah, that's a
That's
good
more
shout.
important, in my
Yeah.
opinion. What's Ruben going to do? If it was me again, if I'm the manager,
Attack.
high press. I watched the Chelsea game and we didn't play well, but we did go to press them. The issue in the Chelsea game is Caicedo was so good at coming out with the ball and beating Bruno in the press. I don't think Spurs have that Caicedo player.
The other thing that's going to be interesting in terms of the way we play against them, because they play a high line, I think that switch is going to be crucial. Getting Bruno in those pockets. If we can switch the play and get our wing backs, and this is another reason to play Ahmad in the wing back position.
Yeah.
Because getting him running in behind Spurs' high line.
Spurs
Spurs are not going to sit in, right?
100%.
We know they're going to play high.
Then they like building out from the back, and I would just go. I'd go high, go and push them back,
Fantastic, yeah.
put them under pressure. Put Vicario. We discussed it, Vicario and Anna, and I said Vicario feels a little bit dodgy sometimes. I'd go and pressure them, go right up against, go man for man basically, and try and win this game.
Put it on them.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like Ruben's going to do containment, but I think he will go more direct to Ron's point.
Yeah, we've
When
had
they push
success.
up,
We've
yeah.
had success against City. In the Liverpool game, I think
game
we
at
did
Anfield.
well, where we were able to contain well. But lads, it's Spurs. See
Yeah.
us go for it.
No, you're right, and
So-
and that early part of the game is going to be crucial, like how those first 20 minutes play out. Like
Yeah.
if we're really on top of them, that's going to set the tone for the game. Whereas if we're more reserved, it's going to be a nervy one, right?
And that for me is it. I want to see an aggressive approach. That's why I'm thinking like a Mason Mount with his legs and his energy. Get Højlund up there and really press on those centre backs, and take the game to them.
What about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, I like your approach. I would back that. Obviously, United fans, we're like that, aren't we? We're
Yeah.
generally quite aggressive. Like we like the attacking play, so I would back that. However, just knowing how this is going to play out, knowing Ruben, I
We'll
can
sit
see it
it.
being a
Yeah.
cagey affair, seeing how it goes.
I
Like
think the problem is we discussed this. As bad as Spurs have been, Spurs do attack well, and the way of keeping an attacking team, you've got to put pressure on them.
attack is the best.
If you
form
let
of
them, if
defence.
you let them come to you and give them the momentum, they will gain confidence. So
I think the
Bit worried.
team sheet will be crucial because if he's not playing Ahmad in that wing back position and he plays, say, Mazraoui or Dallo,
Yeah.
right, then that would suggest actually, Ash, to your point, he's probably going to be a little bit cautious, right,
Yeah.
to begin with. And then as the game evolves and
Yeah.
we get into the second
Yeah.
half, clearly if we need to go for it, we'll go for it.
Yeah.
So that team sheet playing Ahmad in that wing back position will tell us a lot in
Could
terms
be,
of his
yeah.
approach.
I think if you see how it's worked out for Ruben, he obviously tried to do high press when he first joined, with limited success for different reasons. Yeah, I feel he'll do containment. And even on the point of like being ultra aggressive, obviously we want to do that. But even from my own personal experience, in 2009. We tried to do that against
True.
Barcelona.
But that's Barcelona. This is Spurs.
And the reason I'm
But
tempted,
the gaps at the back.
yeah, the
that's
reason
the
I
problem.
say that is I feel that the Chelsea game, he played a strong team to almost do a bit of a practice thing.
Definitely,
And
yeah.
when we went man for man against Chelsea. I'm
Interesting, you
thinking,
played Bruno though in the midfield.
yes, I'm wondering,
Bruno's
is that
clue.
the starting
Possibly, yeah.
lineup? Have a bit of a clue.
We definitely got an inkling because Mason Mount started against.
And I think
And
Mason,
Ahmad wasn't a wing back. He played in the 10.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I think we might have a
because you
little
got the
clue.
energy
Yeah.
and then two number
He was definitely
10s.
trying stuff. Like, why would you not use that game?
Yeah.
You know, that was part of the thinking.
And I do personally, as much I really like Garnacho, but I really like Garnacho off the bench.
No.
I really do.
Yeah. to
So I
change the
think
game.
He's good at running at players with the last 20.
when the game's a
yeah.
little bit stretched,
Yeah.
More space.
so maybe Garnacho.
The other thing
off
about the
bench.
game plan that we mentioned is look at the opposition now, and they are without key players. Maddison's a key player. I think
Kulusevski.
Kulusevski is a huge loss for them. So we're talking about containment, but containment maybe if they had their best attacking players on the pitch. Because they're missing, you know, if I said to you who are two of their best players right now, you would say Maddison and Kulusevski, right?
Yeah.
Mhm,
Without
crucial.
them two, do we necessarily need to play such a containment game from the off?
The
Are we better off
only,
actually going for it ourselves?
the only thing I'd say is their engine room is much stronger and much better than ours. So look, you
You
can
seen Casemiro's six-pack recently? Come on,
no,
give the guy a bit of credit.
And this is why you play Ugarte.
I mean,
but it's the legs more, right? It's like the ground coverage.
pre-season he was on the pies, but I think Casemiro is looking pretty.
No, he's
sharp
looking
at the
slim,
moment.
but
And I think you had Ugarte as well in midfield, didn't you?
yeah.
I mean, Ugarte's got energy to
Oh,
burn.
yeah, of course.
Then
yeah.
you add a little Mason Mount in there.
That's legs.
I mean,
proper legs.
Hoyland can't control a ball,
But he's
but
got
he'll
run.
kick a few people.
I think
Yeah.
on the initial press would actually be good because you got people like Mount, Ahmad, they're all biting in. But once the ball's turned, as in Spurs have got it and they're at our defence, our guys aren't good at running back. Even an Ugarte isn't great.
Do you know what it is
So
as
that's
well?
the
Do you
thing.
know what it is? Well, we can talk about tactics. We can talk about high press. What it comes down to in finals is moments of quality.
Yeah.
So who's going to produce that good cross? Who's going to finish that header? You know, as an example.
So it's about the moment.
And it's the mentality as well, right? Being able to deal with a
I
final.
said this last night. We were doing our combined 11 run. I don't know if you listened to the. Did you listen to our pod?
I did.
Yeah, so we did a combined 11, the United Spurs one. One point I didn't make is sometimes with combined 11s, even though I think we had 7 Spurs,
Yeah.
4 United,
Mm.
but sometimes it's the best player, and I think the best player of the 22 is Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
And I just have a feeling that
She's going to produce, right?
And as
Captain
Steve,
Bruno.
as Steve mentions, you know, we are happy not to play well. Doesn't matter.
As long as you win.
If we have that one moment
Yeah.
of class, Bruno or Ahmad or
Harry,
No, it doesn't
Bruno
matter,
onto
Harry.
Harry's
it
head.
doesn't matter where it comes from.
Just to confirm, you're getting the Harry Maguire shirt, right? If he scores the winner.
if we win,
I want to see the Harry Maguire shirt, and I want to see the knee slide celebration in front of the Guggenheim.
we'll have both tomorrow.
No one's given enough credit to Harry's slide on Friday.
Magnificent.
Even had the face
The-
perfect.
It's like, so close.
That's the most I've celebrated a
just-
goal in weeks because
Yeah.
I don't like Chelsea.
and the finish as well.
We're gonna
Stamford Bridge
Yes,
as well.
we have a terrible record at Stamford Bridge, so I was like,
There's a case for Harry starting up front.
there genuinely is. It crossed my mind.
Right?
I think if we're behind, he's the weapon.
No, he will.
We
he
will
will
have
be,
lead.
Yeah.
I was saying to
The
Angela,
slab.
off
What will
camera, let's
happen
hope we
is
don't see it.
Yeah, exactly, because then we're chasing the game.
Ruben will
Yeah.
get Bruno to drop in deep. He'll start swinging in crosses, and it will be either Harry or Casemiro.
But that would be the front two. That was the front two against Leon.
Yeah,
So
It was Harry and Casemiro and
Yeah.
just brilliant.
throw them up.
And remember Casemiro's flick for Kobe Mainoo's goal.
Yeah.
that's
Fantastic.
the sort of team news side of it from our perspective. Let's discuss how big.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
In terms of, I mean, how far back do we go?
Well, we were
How far do you want to go back?
in the podcast on the way here, listening to the Talk of the Devils. They were
Yeah.
talking about the '91 Cup,
Yeah.
win, how pivotal that was on the back of winning the FA Cup, which actually is
Mm.
quite similar to this now. Now, because obviously we won the FA Cup, got into the Europa League. But yeah,
Mm.
I mean,
What do you think?
I think what's interesting about '91. I mean, I was a little kid at the time, but one of the guys mentioned it on their pod was that 2 years later they won the Premier League.
Yep.
And you know that was their first title after I think 26 years. So yeah, the platform for the summer, if we win, it's all there.
Are you saying that Mateus Cunha is Eric Cantona in this scenario?
I am indeed. As long as
Similar age, very similar kind of,
Personality,
temperament,
yeah.
personality,
Do we actually know?
quality
Profile,
of player.
yeah.
Do we actually know for next season what kit we've got? Like, do we have a colour?
I don't.
Do you know what
I
it
need
reminds me
to
of? I have
call my Chinese contacts and see what they've got.
Well, you do
I've
have plenty.
seen-
I do,
I've seen-
actually.
It reminds me of. Do you remember the Vodafone with
You've seen
the
it-
collars? Just the
Ah.
the round neck Vodafone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks very similar to that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But
Quite
yeah,
linear.
no, the talk obviously is Martinez,
Yeah,
Cunha.
Cunha. I mean, there's a lot of, I think, Cantona similarities, right? Because he had some kind of temperament issues.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of character. So yeah, and he's kind of plays that similar kind of just off the striker role.
We actually need a bit more like bastard mentality
Yeah.
anyway, so I like it.
Bring me a bit of Cunha. I've heard, Ron, you told me there's a bit of rumours around Gyökeres and Delap as well. So
Key will be to win.
Yeah.
You're in the Champions League. All of a sudden,
You're hijacking Arsenal, aren't you?
otherwise the backup plan
it's a
is
question for you, Ron. I know you're not the biggest fan of Ineos, and you, Steve, as well. Don't you feel the execution looks very efficient? The season hasn't even finished. Cunha's maybe.
I thought you were talking about
the
the.
laps being
I thought you were
like
talking about the execution of this trip. I was going to say
That-
yes to that.
that. I've got a long-term, track record.
Okay.
But don't you think,
that is anything but Ineos. The
That's
execution. Of
what Ineos tried to do, but
Don't you think Jim,
no,
Dan, Dave,
looks
Jason,
good, Dave. It looks good. Let's see what's executed, right? Because this
nothing has happened.
Yeah,
nothing's
So
happened yet. But
let's
don't you
see.
feel the wheels are in
No, it's
motion?
good. No, but
I think that's a premature question. Let's have a look at.
We've
the end of
always
August.
given Ineos credit when it's due. For example, when they brought in Ashworth, when they
Yeah.
started making, we've given them credit where it's due, and
Yeah.
we've called it out when it's wrong.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how it plays out. Let's see if we can get this
I
result.
wonder with
Wednesday.
this early window as well, because of the Club World Cup, right? The
Mm.
window's opening, is it a couple of weeks earlier, and then it closes for a few days, and
Yeah.
then back open. Maybe that's got something to do with it as well, right? So
Yeah,
we're going to see those.
I think they're
signs.
planning well. They're looking like they're backing the manager either way. I know.
So just
I know, Ron, you're firing Ruben Amorim if he loses.
we can talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But just in terms of the importance, and I'm really interested.
Yeah,
there from
yeah.
you. How important? Obviously, very important.
Yeah.
But if we go back, let's go back. 20 years, 30 years. Where do you rank? How highly?
It's very high. I'm trying to think, like we talked about 2008, and then Steve made a very good point about the fact that even if we had lost that final, dread to think of that for, but if we had, we're still
Yep.
one of the best teams in Europe. So you have to go even further back, right? As like we're talking 90s.
In my opinion, because I think in all of the time up to this, United has been a fairly stable club, and we've got to the point where 17th, is it 17th, 16th,
16th right
17th?
now.
I mean, and you're looking at the finances of the club are on the precipice.
That's the key for me.
You're looking at a new ownership that's just come in. You've got a new manager that's just come in. There's so much change, and there's nothing like something like a cup win
Yeah.
to be a pivotal moment in that. And I think it really would be, because you've got certain individuals who, here or there. But Ron, if we win, you'd be fully behind Ruben, right? You'd be.
I think you have to be. You can't dismiss trophies. And winning a European trophy of that.
Well, if we
It'll be
lose,
huge for
don't
Ruben,
you
it'll be
think
huge for the
that,
club.
and if we lose, when you feel going into next season, he's going to be on the back
He's
foot,
under
right?
huge pressure. If he loses, he'll be under.
It's
massive
it's
Early
amazing that
talk-
swing, isn't it?
next
On the narrative, like if he wins and
course.
loses, like
But it's fine margins, right?
yeah, that's high level sports. Yeah.
I mean, talking of, past games, 99, the 99 final, obviously these finals are played so late. Papers had to go out with the copy. So the first edition of the papers had us losing.
Oh.
Fergie said to the journalist, I've seen the first edition.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I've
brilliant.
seen, and this is it. The narrative changes.
Yeah, of
classic
course.
Fergie.
In one moment, they had to redo the back page.
Yeah.
Basically, history's different.
And if we talk about famous stories, who we can talk about 99 all day. George Best, when it was 1-0 to Bayern Munich, he said, I can't see Manchester United losing the final. So he went down the lift, and then that's when they scored the 2 goals. So, heritage, written in the stars, universe, the sun is out.
To me, I mean, if you go back over the last 3 decades, you could argue this is perhaps the biggest game. I sort of compared it back to when I got off the plane. I was talking to you guys off camera, 2008. That was the Champions League, to be fair. This is the Europa League, but we were a very stable club back then. Winning a huge trophy like the Champions League is obviously enormous for the club, for any club. But
Next
even if
year.
we'd lost,
Yeah.
you know, we could have been back next year. We
Yeah,
we were
definitely.
that
We were
good
back
in
next
Europe.
year.
We were back next year.
Yeah.
But you just wonder the consequences of losing this game are absolutely mammoth.
We won't be anywhere next
And
year.
over the next
No
5
European
years, it's going to
football.
set us back.
No European.
No Victor Gyokeres.
The thing I will
Potential
say,
transfer.
obviously, I agree with you guys in the importance of it. And I think the point that some people are making, I know Jay's probably quite big on this point, is yes, it has the potential to be pivotal.
Yep.
But we could win it and still fuck it up.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
which obviously that's obvious, right? But it
Yeah.
has the potential to
What you
be-
want is the opportunity.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
tomorrow
Yeah.
night gives you that opportunity. That's what you can ask for as a fan. You want that chance. You want that break.
It's
If
the
we-
mentality of the football clubs, right? Like we've spoken to a lot of Tottenham fans. They're not confident, even though I still think, like, you know, you take the final aside, you know, I feel like they would be stronger on paper, but they're not confident, and that you know plays a part in terms of the importance it is to each club. Because I've heard a lot of talk about who's it more important to. Yep, to the Spurs environment and network. If they won it, they'll have a party. But if Manchester United win, the globe will have a party.
Mm.
Like that's the impact.
Ash,
Like,
Ruben,
this club.
Ruben made a comment yesterday I picked up on, and he said, we will see the trophy.
Yeah.
And
He's
more
manifesting
so,
it.
I'm thinking about Tottenham. And Tottenham seeing that trophy because they haven't been in too many cup finals,
Yeah.
right? Them seeing the trophy to actually walking past that trophy, is that going to send some jitters around?
Mhm.
You hope.
Well, and also our team has just got more final experience. Even, you know, the goalkeeper for a start, he's got 2 European finals. Harry Maguire's played in,
Yeah.
you know, major international competitions. Casemiro.
I've heard a lot about Bruno, and Bruno's not the right captain. I'll take Bruno over Son any day of the week.
Yeah.
Any day of the week
Of
is my
course.
captain in the dressing room.
Absolutely.
Especially for a final like this.
For a final, give me Bruno Casemiro all day long.
Big
If somebody
game
said
players.
out of the 22 players, one person is going to produce a moment, I think we'd all agree. Not just us four, but
I think the
even
neutrals,
the Tottenham
even the
fans would say Bruno would be that one guy you
Yeah.
think
to make the difference.
out of the 22 players can make the difference.
even the neutrals would say, like, who is going to produce that magic? The first person that will come out of their mouths will be Bruno.
Yeah.
So on that
So-
note, go on, Ron.
We can all agree that is
Hugely
biggest
pivotal.
in decades.
Yeah,
right?
for me, yeah. I think biggest of my lifetime. I was born in 1992, just before the Cup Winners' Cup.
Or even 1990, right? Because, you know, Ferguson was struggling. There was the famous banner as well about, you know, Tara Fergie. Obviously, that changed in terms of, you know, Mark Robins' goal against Nottingham Forest.
Would you
at
say
this point,
financially though, the picture back then to what it is now
that's what it is.
even bigger?
It's the finance. It's the
consequences.
financial
the
landscape.
finance impact
That
is
that's what it is.
It's bigger now,
Yeah.
but I mean, I know you were still young, but like Fergie probably would have gone, right?
So,
Even though Martin
in
Edwards, I think so.
hindsight, that was a big moment. In hindsight, because we know what happened
Yeah,
with Ferguson.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was not as obvious at the time,
Yeah.
right, that Ferguson was going to do what
Yeah,
he did.
yeah.
So I would say this is a much bigger moment because the club right now is in this very big transitional moment in terms of ownership, in terms of finances, in terms of everything that it's doing. So in hindsight, clearly what happened with Alex Ferguson is way, way bigger than anything that will ever, right? But in terms of the moment, I feel in this moment with what's happening with the club, that this is a huge event.
I'm going to quote one of Ron's favourite words, momentum. And that's the thing with this victory is that obviously you've got the fan side, they'll be delirious, Champions League, money coming in. But do you know what else? It's just the momentum that you build in the summer in terms of the new training ground is going to, the upgraded new Carrington is coming. The vibes around the training ground, the club, the fans, the summer, you go into it refreshed with
boost.
energy.
Yeah, it's a big boost.
You know.
Absolutely. You'd say for us, getting into the Champions League is bigger, and for Tottenham, winning a trophy is bigger.
I agree.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
A trophy's obviously
We'll still love
you
the
don't,
trophy.
you don't dismiss a
course,
trophy,
yeah,
and a
yeah.
European trophy as well. You don't dismiss that.
No.
Huge honour.
But-
But actually, the biggest prize on offer for us is the Champions League.
Yeah.
For them, given the number of years they've gone without a trophy, it'd be the trophy.
I mean, even the trophy count. I mean, that we are second Europa, and you know, seeing as everyone's obsessed with trophy count versus Liverpool, we need it.
I love a trophy.
Yeah.
I love a cup competition.
How can you not enjoy a
You saw my
cup
stats
final?
the other day about
Yeah.
how many cup finals we've been in, and
Yeah.
you know, how blessed we are.
And the record's good.
Given how poor we've been over a number of years now, you never dismiss a trophy. But the importance for me the Champions League is the bigger prize.
Yeah, I agree. Ron, tell us how we're going to win the game. What's your prediction?
I'm gonna go for 2-1 in 90 minutes.
Wow.
It's gonna be tight. I mean, it's gonna be so.
Who's
nervy.
scoring?
I think
We know who's getting the winner.
we'll take the
obviously.
lead. I'm gonna go for.
Casemiro set piece from a Bruno free kick.
No, I'm gonna go for
Luke Shaw banger.
Ahmad
Love it.
to open the scoring.
Is he going to cut him from right wing
Yeah.
back or from number 10? That's
Cutting
the
from
question.
right wing back.
Is he going to go bend it top corner or going to hit low hard?
low hard into
Low
the bottom?
hard.
I like that.
That's Ahmad.
Vicario weak on that near.
And
Yeah.
I think Tottenham do score goals.
Yeah.
So I think they'll come back.
Solanke or Son? Well, Brennan Johnson at the far post.
Do you know Solanke worries me? He's always
Yeah.
supposed to have a goal in him.
You know what? Against us as well.
Yeah.
Bournemouth even last season.
Yeah.
I think Brennan Johnson's sneaking in behind Luke Shaw because he's had too many kebabs last night. Little tap
Have you-
in, the winning goal. It's got to be my man McHarry.
I'm going for Bruno.
Bruno.
Captain Bruno.
Fair play.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
2-1.
Penalty?
I think he'll score the odd out.
Screamer.
Spectacular. Top corner.
Yeah.
Top corner off the bar and in.
We're talking about moments. This could well be the Bruno final.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout, actually. The Bruno final. I mean, it'll be fitting as well for all the criticism that he's got as being captain this season.
We'll bring
a lot of
Scott
stick.
back on the pod to ask his
No,
Oh, you're
yeah.
not going to get Roy Keane on?
Let's win the final. We'll bring him back on.
That's his job. That's his job.
What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I mean,
Prediction?
I went last night. I went 2-1 in extra time, so I think 1-1 in the 90, and then we'll win it in extra time. I think we're all going for similar vibe, and tight, and then we win it, right? You said penalties. You said
I said 2-1, but I think Spurs will get the first goal
oh, then,
because that's what we do. We do concede first. a
then
lot.
we will need the CPR.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
To be
stadiums.
honest, I mean, it's beautiful out here. Great little discussion. The team's now giving me a lot of positivity. We've got the news about Xerxes, Yoro, Dallo. I think it's going to be an easy 2-0. Honestly, boys. It's going to be wonderful.
It's Spurs.
We won't need the CPR in that case.
Exactly. It's the
Honestly,
vitamin D.
for me, everything is feeling more positive.
Yeah.
I can feel
It's
the
slowly
energy.
getting more positive.
If you look at it on the face of it, as I said, their two best players are out. You know, if we took Ahmad and Bruno out of our team, we'd be so worried.
Yeah.
If you take, two of their best players out from an attacking perspective, that's huge.
And they've got an Australian manager. He can't know anything about football, surely.
Surely.
He's actually
I mean,
got
if
a
it
beard
was-
similar to yours.
Yeah, if it was a cricket match, then I'd be a bit worried.
Bit of leg spin, bit of a
I mean,
googly.
Dom Solanke probably is, pretty good on the front foot. No,
And the fact it's Spurs as well, right?
Ruben, I trust
Yeah.
Ruben. Ruben's going to carry us through. We had a little discussion with some United fans,
Yeah.
and they were criticising all the players, and they're not good enough. How are we going to win? Well, Ruben's going to carry us through.
And let's not
There you
forget,
go.
Ruben and the Devil.
as poor as we've been, they're not exactly a very good team either, are they?
Yeah.
No.
So-
Lads, it's Spurs.
Exactly. That's the key, right?
Print the T-shirt.
Yeah. I think we'll wrap it up there.
The service today has been impeccable.
Peter Pan's concierge service.
Cannot wait.
Oh, looking forward to it. Any AOB before we wrap up? Anyone got anything?
I think we should just if you just step out of the way for a second. I mean, just look at this, look at this
Oh,
view.
look at this.
Check it out.
It's what Ineos should be doing. Look at this.